So guys, welcome back to the channel. Montel Gordon here, and in today's video I want to break down a couple of reasons as to why you cannot get any clients for your social media marketing agency. So guys, forgive me if you hear me doing any snuffling or if you feel like my voice is a little bit whiny. It's because I have the flu. But in today's video, I want to break down a couple of reasons as to why you are struggling to actually pick up clients for your social media marketing agency. Now, I've done a few videos on this sort of topic before, but in today's video, I want to make it a little bit different and show you a couple of mindsets behind why you're stuck getting clients and a couple of things you kind of want to look out for as well. So without any further ado, I'm going to jump into this video because I want to keep it super short. Now, the first point is I want to mention is something that my mentor says all the time. He says the key to evolution is variation. Now, when you think about that, it actually makes a lot of sense. What I love about my mentor Sam Ovens is that he takes nature and he links it to business. So he will take like wildlife, nature, how nature evolves, and he will relate that to business. Because think about it, life is all about nature, life is based on nature. There's nothing more powerful than Mother Nature itself. Nature creates the stars, the heavens, whatever you want to go down. I'm not trying to get too woo-woo on you guys, but he does have a point there, guys. What I mean by that is, if you take a species or something, just like a species of bird, and you isolate them on an island, eventually that bird's going to die out. That species of bird's going to die out if there's not enough variation. Now, the reason why that is because interbreeding will start happening where they're too similar, their genes are too similar, and it causes interbreeding. Guys, I'm pretty sure you know what interbreeding is, but what it does is it creates disabilities, and in the world of survival of the fittest, a disability could be very detrimental and disadvantageous to you if you're trying to reproduce, live, pass on your genes to the next generation and whatnot. So guys, we can actually take what I'm saying here and actually relate it back to business and import our business and actually look at it from a nature perspective. You guys have a lack of variation. I see you're doing the same thing over and over again, and you're not listening to the market feedback, which kind of takes me on to point number 2, but I'll kind of merge them together because you guys know I always try to do these videos off the top of my head. But life itself is a massive feedback loop, guys. Everything we've ever learned is it's actually come from feedback. When we learn to walk, guys, when we're a kid, like when we're a baby and we're learning to walk, we are we're getting up, we're stumbling, we're falling back down. We then learn not to put our foot in that position again, because that's going to create us to go off balance and we're going to fall to the right hand side, for example. Another little example is when we're young and we touch a hot stove and we burn our hands. We have to go through that feedback in order to learn not to touch the actual stove. So what I'm trying to say here is that there's feedback loops always going on around us. And the greatest thing about feedback loops is that they can compound on top of each other, but I'll get into that in a second. But the first point I was kind of mentioning is the evolution thing and the lack of variation. Again, I think it's Einstein that said this, that the definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result or a different outcome. And guys, all I see you guys doing is you're sending out the same email template to businesses at the same time. There's no variation in the messaging you're sending. There's no variation in the time you're sending the emails. There's no variation in what's actually in the email. Is it just a text email, or is it a Loom video or something like that? Guys, you're not testing enough things. That's what I'm trying to say here. And what you want to do, guys, is you don't want to test too many things at one time, because this is kind of confusing. It's kind of like a catch-22. You want to test a lot of things, but you don't want to test a lot of things at the exact same time, because it's kind of like running a Facebook ad. If you put out 2 similar ads and you change the copy, then it's the copy that got you X result as opposed to Y results. So you know which ones work the best because you can actually because you're only testing one variable there. It's just the ad copy that's changed. The images stayed the same, the targeting stayed the same, and that's what you want to do with your outreach, guys. You want to test a message and maybe test it on a different platform. So see which platform actually works best for you. So for example, you can keep the messaging the same. So what you're actually saying in the message is the exact same, but you can test it on a different platform, such as Facebook. Does it work better on Facebook if you message somebody over on Facebook? Does it work better if you message people over on LinkedIn, or is it better on email, or is it better said over the phone on a call? So you can test variations there, and as you can see, the variation that's changed there is the actual platform itself that you're actually reaching out on, and the constant that's remained constant in that scenario, because I believe in science there's a particular phrase for something that remains constant. I believe it's actually called just the constant. But as you can see, what I'm trying to get you to understand here, guys, is you want to be testing out different things, switching it up, testing out, and the thing is, you want a great sample size as well. You want to test a bunch of these, because I know some of you guys are sending out like 10 looms and then saying, you know, loom doesn't work for you, or you're doing like 100 cold calls, and 100 cold calls is not really that much. Definitely when you're doing cold calls is quite a big numbers game, so you have to get a good sample size to deem it worthy or not. So you want to make sure you stick to one thing, but you test different variations on that one thing, if that makes sense. And again, you want to test it enough to have a big enough sample size to actually draw an accurate conclusion from that. Again, you want to kind of treat it like a science experiment, and know that variation is very, very important, because once something doesn't work, you don't keep doing that. You change, iterate, you listen to the feedback, and you iterate and try something else until you find something that eventually works. Like for me, for example, I was cold calling businesses such as like dentists. I did like over 300 cold calls, and I set like 0 meetings. I then stopped that because I obviously could see that was a big enough sample size to understand that was not an effective method. I then started sending video messages over on Facebook just to try something new, because again, that's that variation kicking in. I tried a variation of the messaging. I was basically saying the same thing I was saying in the actual calls, but over on Facebook this time, over on an actual video. And that actually landed my first like trial client with an actual dentist, and that was like amazing experience. Not that I recommend, by the way, guys, if you're wondering, I don't recommend you do trials or anything like that. It's absolutely bullshit. What I do recommend instead you do, if you're going to do a trial, just do this instead. Go to Upwork, go find a contractor who's got good results, let him show you your results, and you make a partnership with him, and you say, if I get a client leveraging your results, I'm going to bring that client to you, and you're going to be my contractor. I'm going to pay you. You win, I win, the client wins. Everybody should be happy. Is that cool with you? Yes, should be. Then just do that, guys, instead of doing free trials. Free trials is completely bullshit. So guys, just to summarize and to wrap up this video really quickly, again, I want to keep this one super short, but you definitely want to be using variation to your advantage, because again, a lack of variation causes all sorts of problems, such as interbreeding, like disabilities, and like species dying out too young and stuff like that. But again, guys, I'm just drawing upon like a nature perspective there. You obviously want to take that and implement it in business. That's one of the reasons why I believe my mentor Sam Ovens is like ridiculously successful, because he spots patterns in like things that have already gone there and been through that. So he knows that his messaging needs variation, or it's not going to work. Lack of variation is just not going to work. And if he doesn't listen to market feedback, iterate and improve, that's not going to work. That's something I've been going through myself with my business. Again, I struggled for so long to actually like pick up clients for my agency and pick up clients for like coaching and stuff like that. And then it wasn't until I realized that people want to see more content. I noticed that for me, I'm okay on camera. Yes, I'm not the strongest on camera. I'm definitely not the weakest on camera, but camera is probably one of my strongest skills. I know that when I put content out, people are going to come to me through one of my funnels or whatnot. So I know that that's my strength, so I'm playing to my strength. And I've actually learned that through trying stuff, failing at stuff, iterating, improving, and then creating systems around things that have actually worked, basically. So I've iterated, listened to market feedback. It's that feedback loop I keep talking about, guys. You definitely want to be listening to feedback loops. So if I was you, I would create a plan to send 100 looms or something like that. I'm just throwing this off the top of my head. Just send 100 looms to 100 businesses. actually scientifically write down, I sent 100 looms, I started on this date, so, and you could just tally them off each day. So I sent 5 looms this day, 5 looms this day, 5 looms this day. I got this amount of responses this day, and I was able to set this amount of calls this throughout this period, and that led to this much money. Treat it exactly like a scientific experiment. Then if that didn't work for you, try some other things, such as actually sending out video messages via LinkedIn or something like that. That would be a great way to add some variation to what you're doing. Again, guys, don't just stick to one thing that's not working. Actually switch it up, see what's working. If it starts working, then double down on that 100%. So guys, with that being said, I just want to put this quick video together for you guys, just to get some stuff off my head and show you like kind of some stuff that's actually worked for me. But guys, if you've enjoyed this, please drop me a like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.